If that didn't get you in the mood for Shabbat, I'm not sure what would. Still, these youngsters have been learning a little bit of Hebrew in the form of the Hebrew alphabet, which is called the Aleph Bet. So we have that to sing for you. First, repeat after me. Aleph, Bet, Bet. Gimel, Dalet, Hey. Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet. Yud, Kaf, Chaf. Lamed, Mem, Nun. Samech, Ayin, Pei, Pei. Tzadi, Kuf, Resh. Shin, Sin, Tav. Now you lead. Aleph, Bet, Bet. Gimel, Dalet, Hey. Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet. Yud, Kaf, Chaf. Lamed, Mem, Nun. Samech, Ayin, Pei, Pei. Tzadi, Kuf, Resh. Shin, Sin, Tav. Shin, Sin, Tav. Woo! That was
All right.
great. Show us how you go back down, Nolan. And we'll be back up again in a few minutes.
So I just have to say, they're louder than the 5th and the 6th graders. So all I can say is I know that the Jewish future is in very good hands and very good future. Shabbat Shalom. It's such a beautiful time to be together. Let out the week. Welcome the spring. Let go of anything we need to let go of from the week. Celebrate our kindergarten 1st and 2nd graders, and welcome to our new members. To usher in Shabbat, I'd like to invite Chris Eig, who's a member of our Board of Trustees, to offer the prayer on page 3 as we prepare to kindle the lights of Shabbat. I'll get you a mic. You stand right there. Stand right there in front of the candles. Yeah.
In English?
Yes, please.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Thank you.
Do you want to light the candle? Otherwise, I will.
They're tricky. They always want to go out.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, where is he? There he is. Benny Gabriel will be called to the Torah for the first time as a bar mitzvah. And in honor of that, I would like to invite the Gabriel family up to offer a blessing on page 7, and to invite Benny to lead us in the Kiddush prayer on page 5. Do you have a book? Okay, so why don't you read
Here,
this?
Benny. You can use mine.
But first this. Okay, so why don't you read that together?
Where has this week vanished?
Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished, will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Benny, would you lead us in the Kiddush on page 5? Let me pass you your Kiddush cup.
Step forward a little bit. Watch out for the candles.
Yes. Don't want the Siddur to catch fire. That wouldn't be a good omen. Amen. Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Amen. L'chaim. Go ahead and drink it.
Take a little drink.
It's just grape juice.
It's grape juice. Otherwise, I think
Mazel tov. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, we are all here to celebrate. We have so much to celebrate tonight. This is New Member Shabbat, in which we honor the lifeblood that is our congregation, people who are discovering us and making new friends and deciding to retire to Jersey City or raise their children in Jersey City or just find new friends in Jewish community after a really lonely last couple of years. So we want to especially honor those new members. And if I call your name, I know a couple of you are here, but we're going to call you all out anyway. Please rise so that we can all make sure to meet somebody new tonight, yeah? And after that, I'm going to ask you to turn your attention to the handout, which hopefully you all have. So if I call your name, actually first, if you've been a member here for more than 5 years, could you rise? Great. If you've been a member, well, I guess that already counts if you've been 10 years. That's good. So, especially you, stay rising, especially you, make sure to reach out to the new members and say hello and make them feel welcome. So we welcome Elena Gore and Arturo Barone, Yale and Kelsey Cohen and their children Vera and Cassius, Helen Blumenthal, Brian and Danielle Newman and their son Jack, Zach and Nirupa Cutler and their children Talia and Izzy, Uliana Bravo and Jeremiah Lowe and their new son Liam, Eric and Marla Decker and their children Sam and Elliot, Jessica and Daniel Simakovsky and their children Olivia and Owen, Lloyd Gladstone and Jordan Somer, Leah Mermelstein and her daughter Ariana, David Jaffe and Elena Sedova and their new baby Theo, Larry Seaman, Mark and Cynthia Link and their children Jonah and Sadie, Jason and Cynthia and Lindsay Heller and their little one Teddy, Sarah Marin and Tom Stein, Jason and Lindsay Reznikoff, Rob and Erica Groman and their daughter Ada, Noemi Naiman, Layla Patel and her daughter Sammy, and Dave and Sue Roush. May you all find home and shalom and spirit and friendship and find your way to make a difference. Because I always say, right, that we're big enough to feel like we've got something going, but we're small enough that everybody really counts, and we all really do create the community that we want to live in. So welcome, welcome. And we celebrate you with your sheet cake after the oneg. And we're delighted to have an oneg Shabbat and serve refreshments. So let's all offer these words of welcome. And I invite you to turn your attention to the handout. As we say, Bruchim Habaim, we welcome you to your new spiritual home. When you find a synagogue to call home, you have found yourself a holy community in which the divine presence dwells.
May you never be alone within our community. May we always be willing to support each other.
And if you're a new member, please read the next lines. Amen, amen. May heavenly blessings be granted to all the members of this congregation and to all their loved ones. May they be granted kindness and compassion, long life, ample sustenance, divine support, health of body and health of spirit, and healthy children who do not neglect the Torah. And may the sovereign of the universe bless them, guard them from all distress and disease, and be their help at all times. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel God's presence within you and with you always. And may you find peace. Shalom. More, Marian, can you play that on the guitar and sing that for us?
Oh, sure.
So this is something that we also offer to our children. So since we do have so many children, as Maura Marian is singing that blessing, can you put your hands on your children's head or shoulders or snuggle up with them nice and close and take in these words of blessing?
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha. Yasem lecha shalom. Shalom, shalom. Yasem lecha shalom. Shalom. Yasem lecha shalom. Shalom, shalom, yasem lecha shalom, shalom, yasem lecha shalom.
Okay, so a blessing isn't complete unless it goes full circle. So this is the invitation. Ready? I want you all to think of something that you particularly love or notice or appreciate about a loved one that you came with today, and whisper it in their ear. And if you didn't come with a loved one, you know what they say, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. Find somebody and tell them something nice. So nobody should be without a blessing. Totally kosher to give blessings to total strangers, too.
Another day, another blessing.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
All right, if we're feeling thoroughly blessed, I invite us all to turn to page 20 as we welcome in the Shabbat beauty. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
And for 9, we stand and face the back, and then we turn back around again, right?
Just follow my lead.
Okay, great.
Lecha Dodi, page 20.
Padodi. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Hishmiyanu el hayuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila.
Back to the top.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Second verse.
Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Zov ma'aseh b'machshava tila.
From the top.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Fifth verse.
Hitoreri, Hi va'oreu mi'ori, Uri, shir daveri, Kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala.
Please rise.
B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
And face the door. Ninth stanza.
Ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula, bo'ichala. Lecha dodi.
Turn around.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please remain standing and turn to page 28 for the Barchu.
Lai, 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 lai.
Follow me.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. our kindergarten, first, and second graders have been doing some studying about stories that are in the Torah. And even though it's not this week's Torah portion, they wanted to share with you something they've learned that's from the Torah, a story from the Torah. So I invite them to come back up on the bima. Let Eli lead us. Ready, Eli? And they also made some drawings, which we meant to put here. So, oh my goodness, that's great. I meant to ask you to do that at the beginning. So for this song, we need the congregation here to help us with a part. It's one word, God. We're going to need you to do that, and it goes like this. Let me make sure I'm in the right key here, and you'll sing it to show them while we're waiting for this to come out. God, 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 God. So it's just God, 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 okay? And then there's one more part, it goes like this. God, God, and it was good. Hang on. God, it was good. I always have trouble getting in the right key. Are we ready? Here with the picture. Okay. Goes like this. God,
God.
God. And it was good. So you'll get it as they're singing, and they will help you with that. Ready? Here we go. God,
God, God.
God, God. Ready for first day? First day, day and night. God, God, and it was good. Sing out. God, God, God. First day, second day, heaven and earth. God, God, and it was good. God, God, God. First day, day and night, heaven and earth. Third day, plants and trees, God, God, and it was good.
And it was good.
God, God, God,
God, God, God.
First day,
Day and night.
second day, third day, plants and trees. Fourth day, sun and moon and stars. God,
Yeah, God.
God,
God.
and it was good.
And it was good.
God,
God.
God,
God.
God,
God.
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 First day,
Night.
second day, third day, plants and trees. Fourth day, sun and moon. Fifth day, fins and wings. God,
God.
God,
God.
and it was good.
It was good.
God,
God.
God,
God.
God,
God.
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 First day, second day,
Plants and trees.
third day, plants and
The
trees. Fourth day, sun and moon. Fifth day, sixth day, God,
God.
God,
God.
and it was good.
It was good.
God,
God.
God,
God.
God,
God.
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 First day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day, God.
God.
And it was good.
It was good.
God.
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 God. You were beautiful.
We're on page
Yep,
30.
Nolan.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvahot shemo. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time, and changes the seasons. El Chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ari v'aravim. Page 32. Everlasting love, you've offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Al tasir mimenu leolamim. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Emet. Please, let's all read together on the top of page 39 in the English. All together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, a winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi chamocha, who is like you? Page 40.
Lai 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 la lai la 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 lai lai la 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 lai la 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 lai la 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 la. I want to hear you. Lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai la 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 lai la 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 la. haba elim Adonai mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh nora tehilo osei felech nora tehilo osei felech malchutecha uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Elianu ve'amru ze Elianu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Lai 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 lai
O God, among all the gods that are worshipped, who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor and working wonders. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ki alo me'ad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, gal Yisrael. Page 43. You'll sing with me in the English. We'll just keep singing. If you don't know it, fake it.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Keep it going with me.
Keep singing. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Again.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Keep it going. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love.
I want to hear everybody.
And understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you are God, our gracious and merciful, guard our going and our coming, to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. I invite everybody to please rise for the Amidah. We start off together, and then we all have our own private moments of prayer after we acknowledge that we are all cut from that same spiritual cloth and each carry that covenantal relationship down to today. We start with just asking for the words to flow, page 46, and it just continues through.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu velo Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Page 50. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atarav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishnei Afar, Michamocha Ba'gevurot, Umidomelach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ne'eman Atah Le'achayot Hakol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayei HaMetim. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehallelu Selah. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
I invite you to continue your Amidah prayer privately, either the words of your heart or the text between pages 54 and 60. Today is Rosh Chodesh, so if you're following the text, please include the insertions on page 56 and be seated when you feel like you've said what you need to say. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו יעלה ויעבור ויזכר זיכרוננו זיכרון כל עמך בית ישראל לפניך לטוב. ראש חודש חזה זיכרוננו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה, אמן. עינינו מודים אנחנו לך שאתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואלוהי בארץ. נודה לך אצבע תהילתך על חיים ביתך. על ניסח שפוט ממנו.
Page 62. Oseh shalom bimrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Give us a place to rest and a time to rest. Adonai, our God, bring us into shelter, into the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return, and spread over us your shelter of peace, and over all we love, over our Jerusalem, and over yours. We always take a minute whenever we gather to call our attention to those in our lives, our families, our communities who are hurting and who need healing. Healing of body, spirit, psyche, self, relationship. So I invite us to turn, please, to page 253, and as is our custom, we'll pause between the stanzas and call out those names and let them reverberate throughout the cosmos, sending our prayers out and giving them turbocharge.
Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
This week we're especially holding in our hearts Millie Rottenberg, Howard Simon, Gloria Berkowitz, Gittel Bat Chana, Bernice Portney, Beryl Ben Sima Vishmuel Leib, Steve Gellis, Shalom Avram Ben Golda Yeshayahu, Myrtle Cupid, Michael Rosenblum, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Bat Sarah Yitzchak, Maxwell Zwain, Menachem Mendel Ben Yehuditu Michael, Dora Monserrate, Jeff Galvani, Dr. Isoken Osemwota, Alan Mentha, Alon Ben Yael, Marlon Williams, Eric Ribchin, Ian Gold, Tyler Stein, Chaim Tzviven, Moshe Hillel Ben Nachama, Lisa Korn, Leah Razel Bat Malcha Valabel, Gabriel Medalitza, Gavriel Yehoshua Ben Yehuda Vachana, and Megan Howard Novak. And to these names we add
Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May they know healing fully, uneventfully, quickly. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So, as you know, First Friday, we feature our children. Now we're going to have a sheet cake, which is great. And instead of a sermon, I tell a story. And in thinking about what story to tell this month, it was sort of a no-brainer. We've got a really, really important story to tell at our tables 2 weeks from tonight. It's the most important story to the Jewish people, and I'm going to go on not too far of a limb here to say it's even the most important story of all time. It's the story of the Exodus. Now, if you've never heard the word Exodus, does it kind of sound like the word exit? Yeah? And what does it mean to exit? Call it out. To leave. Yes, the story of the Exodus is when the Jewish people left where? Egypt. We start out this story, and the Jewish people are no longer welcome in Egypt, but now Pharaoh has turned us into slaves. We're working so hard, there is no break. We're being mistreated, we're being oppressed, we don't get a break, we don't have any free will. We're forced to work from sun up to sundown, and it gets worse. Every conceivable punishment that Pharaoh can mete out on the Jewish people, it happens. He even mistreats little tiny babies. Nobody is spared the wrath and the hatred and the oppression of Pharaoh. Now, there's one little baby that in order to be spared the meanness of Pharaoh, his mother puts him in a basket and puts him on the Nile River, just as she knows that somebody very special is going to be out swimming in the Nile. Does anybody know who that special person is? Who is it, Sammy? It's Pharaoh's daughter. Exactly. Well, almost. It wasn't Pharaoh's hand, it's Pharaoh's daughter, but really close. Pharaoh's daughter pulls this basket with this little tiny baby out of the river Nile and says, "Oh, he's beautiful. He must be an Israelite, a Jewish baby. I'm going to take care of him." And she raises Moses. She names him Moses, which means I drew him from the water. And she raises up Moses to live in the Pharaoh's palace as if he were an Egyptian. He knows who he is. And when he sees how badly the Jewish people, the Israelites, are being treated, he tries to come to their rescue, but things don't go really well, and he has to flee. And when he's out in the middle of the desert fleeing for his life, he encounters something really strange, something I've never seen before. Do you know what it is? What is it? What does Moses see? Ellie, do you remember? Do you remember, Mimi? A bush with fire coming out of it. Exactly. I don't know about you, but I've never been walking around and I've never seen a bush on fire. Has anybody seen that? Well, not only was it on fire, but Moses notices that the bush is not burning up. And a voice comes out of this bush. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never, not even have I not encountered a bush that's burning and not burning up, but not a talking bush. So I would like for you all to put yourselves in that position. What would you be thinking? I wouldn't know what to do either. Thank you, Gabe. What? It was exactly. He might think it was magic. It wasn't real at all. But the Torah tells us that this is the voice of God and saying to Moses, "Moses, First of all, careful. It's a burning bush. Don't get too close, which is probably a good thing for all fire. But if God is speaking to you, another thing, you probably wouldn't want to get too close, right? And he says, Moses, you're going to go to Pharaoh, and you're going to tell Pharaoh to let all the Israelites go. Now, I ask you, if you were running away from Pharaoh, and Moses said to you, a turning bush, talks to you and says, I want you to go to Pharaoh, and tell Pharaoh to let all of my slaves go free, what would you say? No. But you would say, okay, because he's God. And we should always listen to God. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Emma? You would say, okay, you're a brave girl. You're a brave girl. Anybody, Ellie, what would you say? I think maybe Ellie's not quite sure what she would say. Mimi, what would you say?
Maybe okay, as long as
Ah, what a clever girl. I love first that she's negotiating with God. Okay, so Mimi is saying, I'll only do it if. So this is a girl who thinks on her feet. I love this. All right, but she says, because remember, you think Pharaoh's going to say, yeah, sure. Who thinks that Pharaoh's going to say, sure, I'll let all my slaves go, no problem, Moses? Yeah, Moses isn't going to say that. Moses doesn't say that. But Mimi says, I'll go and ask as long as I can have somebody with me. Anybody know who God says he can take with you? Yeah, who can? His brother Aaron, right. Because Moses stumbles a little over his words, right? And I think maybe he's not quite sure about this job, but that's another story. Okay, so Moses and Aaron, they go to Pharaoh. And what do you think Pharaoh's going to say? No, yeah, I don't think so. I like having slaves. He's a really bad guy and really mean, and he likes having all that free labor, right? And Moses says, God, let my people go. They have to go free so that they can worship God. And Pharaoh doesn't really like this, but Moses says, if you don't do it, really bad things are going to happen. And Pharaoh kind of goes, oh yeah? I'm not that worried. So next thing you know, things start getting really strange around Egypt. Jonah, what do you think starts happening? The river turns to blood. The Nile River turns to blood. And Moses goes to Pharaoh and says, you see, you're going to let my people go now? What do you think Pharaoh says? No. Anybody know what happens next? Emma, do you know what happens next? They're green and they're slimy and they jump. What happens next? The frogs, exactly. And frogs are all over Egypt. They're in people's beds and in people's heads. And Moses goes to Pharaoh and says, okay, Pharaoh, you going to let my people go now? And what do you think Pharaoh says? No. Anybody know what the next plague is? Gets a little tricky after this. Even I need my notes. Okay. Anybody know? Lice. Anybody ever have lice? Oh my goodness, it's so itchy. It's so itchy. And everybody says, oh gosh, take this lice away. And Moses goes to Pharaoh, oh yeah, I'll take the lice away if you let my people go. And what do you think Pharaoh says? Well, first he says, yes, I have to take the lice away, but then when the lice are gone, then he says no. And the same thing happens with insects and cattle disease. All the animals start getting sick, and then people start getting boils all over their bodies. It's really, really gross. And each and every time Moses goes to Pharaoh and says, you're going to let my people go? And they go, and he says, what do you think he says? No. He gets even more and more and more stubborn. And next thing you know, hail the size of golf balls is coming down and raining on the people. And then locusts come from out of the woodwork, eating up everything that's alive. And then they start getting really, really bad. Darkness that's so thick that you can cut it with a knife. And believe me, there is no sepia tone light coming from New York City. When it was dark, it was really, really dark. And then the absolute worst plague of all. And if you could think of the absolute worst thing that you could possibly think of, that's what happened. But throughout all of this, saying, no, not going to let you go. But this last 10th plague was so bad that even Pharaoh couldn't deny the power of God and these plagues that were sent. And even Pharaoh said, go, just go, get out of here as fast as you can. And the Israelites, they were told on this last fateful night that they were to take some blood of a sheep and to put it on their doorpost and mark their doorpost, because if they marked their doorpost, anybody know the word for their doorpost? What's the word for doorpost? Emma, do you know the word? Starts with a Say it, somebody say it. Mezuzah, yes, 10 points. Ding, 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 ding. And so if they marked the doorpost with the blood, the angel of death was going to pass over and skip over the houses of the Israelites. And the Israelites were all saved. But in the middle of the night, the Israelites were told, just put everything on your back that you can carry, even your dough that hasn't had time to rise. Make sure you're dressed. Don't get into your pajamas because you're going to have to take off. And it was by the full moon that the Israelites and everybody else who really smelled the coffee, quite honestly, the Torah says it was a mixed multitude. It wasn't just the Israelites. There were other people that said, I'm going with this God. And they all ran really, out of Egypt on that fateful full moon. And you want to know something? In 2 weeks from tonight, that same full moon after the spring equinox, which is the night that Seder always falls. And the Israelites escaped from Egypt. But that pesky Pharaoh that just doesn't seem to get it, he actually changed his mind again. And so, after the Israelites left, they came to the shores of the Sea of Reeds, and they realized that they had the sea in front of them, and behind them was Pharaoh's army with chariots and horses and swords. And they said, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? And Pharaoh says, don't you worry. We're going to cross through this. And the water, the most miraculous thing happens, splits into two. And the Israelites and their animals and their children and all that stuff and that dough that didn't have time to rise that turns into what? What's the dough that doesn't have time to rise? It's matzah, right? And we're all going to eat it 2 weeks from tonight, you betcha. And the Israelites walk through the Sea of Reeds, and just as the last person is, Pharaoh's army comes crashing after them through the middle of the Sea of Reeds. And just at that time, what do you think happens? What happens? The water comes down on the army, and the Israelites are saved. And that's the story that we're going to retell 2 weeks from tonight. But there's a curious thing. I'm going to ask you, if this was a movie, and it has been, but the real thing happened before the movie, who would be the star of the movie? What character would have the most lines? Who would it be? Who? Call it out. You would think so. So we have to ask the question, when we open up the book, our Haggadot, on Passover night in 2 weeks, you know who's missing from that book? Moses. So I want to ask you, adults and children alike, why is Moses not mentioned in this story on Passover? Why? Why would they leave him out? Why do you think, Sammy? He might have left Moses out because he wasn't the one doing the talking. Aaron wasn't in it either. But what do you think?
I
did do the 10 plagues. That's exactly right. Thank you, Gabe. Exactly. So Moses isn't left out. Because it wasn't Moses that did the plagues. Gabe taught us that it was God that did the plagues. And if we make this story about Moses, we might think that this is a history story, but this isn't a history story. This is about how we can be free every single day and every single year. And that we don't rely on Moses coming back, right? Moses was a very long time ago. That it's each of us that helps the world to be free. And that's how it was then. That's how it has been for us for thousands of years. That's how it is today, and that's how it's always going to be, that Adonai is our God, and the Jewish people are God's people, and that we are always together no matter what. So I want to wish everybody a really, really sweet Passover and a wonderful Seder. Finally all together, please God, after 3 years. Anybody else getting together, family, for the first time in 3 years? I know I am. It's been a very long time. But I'm going to invite us all, please, now to turn to page 261 as we announce the new month, which is today, the month of Nisan, the month in which Passover arrives, and we say, may it be your will, our God, Adonai and God of our ancestors, to renew our lives in the coming month. Grant us a long life, a peaceful life with goodness and blessing, sustenance and physical vitality, a life informed by purity and piety, a life free from shame and reproach, a life of abundance and honor, a life embracing justice and love of Torah, in which our heart's desires for goodness will be fulfilled. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
The new month of Nisan begins today. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Yeh Bayom, HaShabbat Hazeh Hayom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael L'tova. Yehadeshehu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu ve'al kol Amo Beit Yisrael L'chayim u'shalom. For life and for peace. Give me an amen.
Amen.
L'sason u'simcha, for joy and for gladness, and amen to that.
Amen.
L'farnasa tova u'livracha, for the ability to earn a good living and for blessing.
Amen.
L'yeshua u'lenechama, for salvation and for comforting. And we say, V'nomar Amen. Going to rise for Aleinu, page 200. Okay, we'll do this. 284. You don't even need the page. Just repeat after me.
V'hashevota
El levavecha Ki Adonai Hu ha-Elohim V'hashevota El levavecha Ki Adonai Hu ha-Elohim V'nemar V'hai-Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. Please be seated and turn to page 294, in which we honor those who gave us life, those who came before us, those who walked with us, those who taught us, but who no longer walk this earth. So if I call the name of your loved one, I invite you to please rise in your place to honor them. We are observing Shloshim for Kenneth J. Donenfeld, and are observing the yahrzeit of Andy Lakowitz, William Mankoff, Lennox McKell, Eileen T.W. Pollock, Harry Sandlaufer, and Irving Vogelman. Is there anyone else here who is either in their year of mourning or who is observing a yahrzeit? I invite you to please rise and say their name out loud so we can honor them. We turn to page 294 for Mourner's Kaddish, so if it is your custom to rise for this prayer, I invite you to do so. Otherwise, you may remain seated. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Israel, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shmei dekudesha brichu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Say shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Please be seated. Tom, holy announcements.
First, I'd like to thank our religious school students who sang and danced and acted out the story so beautifully for us tonight. Thank you so much for making this such a wonderful service. And I'd like to thank our new members who, by joining our community, replenish and re-energize us all the time. I'd like to thank Rabbi Maura Marion. I'd like to thank our accompanists, our teachers, and everybody who contributed. You know, these last couple of days have been a couple big days for us in Jersey City, all centered around St. Peter's University, where there was a big parade in honor of the basketball team. And last night there was actually an event in honor of a man named Frank McMillan. I just wanted to give a little shout out to Frank. He was the local head of Jersey City Together, which is a community organizing group that Temple Beth-El supports. And if any of you would like to get involved in community organizing, you can see me. And we could use some more people joining us. Frank McMillan, who I mentioned, came here as kind of a lone cowboy 8 years ago and started a whole big movement. And he's moving on to a new assignment in Maryland. So there was a nice event to honor Frank last night. So one big change here at Temple Beth-El is that for those people who come here and are vaccinated, we are mask optional. So I started the service with my mask on and then I took it off. If you haven't yet done it, please send your documentation to Bob in the office as soon as you can so you can be on our nice list. And then we don't have to ask you anymore if you've been vaccinated. Tonight we're going to have our first Oneg Shabbat.
Woo!
Yeah, after 2 years. And if you're interested in sponsoring a future Oneg, please contact the office.
Or just
yes.
sign up online. You can just
Or
do it
sign up online. How about that? Sign up online. It's all
On the
online.
website.
And in case you didn't hear, there will be sheet cake. Yay. Tomorrow morning, yet another big event here in Jersey City, 10:30 a.m. We have our Shabbat morning services and the bar mitzvah of Benny Gabriel. Yes, tomorrow morning. Big excitement. Sunday, religious school will be in person, and registration is still open for our in-person second night Seder that will take place Saturday night, April 16th at 5:30 p.m. It will be led by Rabbi Morit, and it'll take place at Congregation B'nai Jacob on West Side Avenue. As you probably know, our social hall downstairs is not very hospitable right now. Not a good place to have a Seder. But we are proceeding, and we'll have it at Temple B'nai Jacob. Additional details can be found on the website, in the weekly email, in the newsletter, all over the place. Not only that, but borscht is back, and we love our borscht here at Temple Beth-El. We'll be celebrating our temple's 150th, I should say our congregation's 150th birthday with borscht, our annual comedy show and fundraiser. Again, it won't be held in the social hall because of the condition it's in, but it will be held at the Ukrainian Hall here in Jersey City. It's June 11th, and so please sign up. Please also look at the website. You can see that there are opportunities to purchase advertisements. You can help sell advertisements. This is really our biggest fundraising event. The ad journal is the big fundraiser, really. So we all need to participate, purchase ads, sell ads, and help support Temple Beth-El.
Yes, it's all on the website, Glenn.
Yes, it's on the website, and if I remembered her name, I would say it right now. Sorry. There will also be some music that night. The Temple Beth-El Book Club is meeting Thursday night, April 21st at 8 p.m. to discuss Orphan's Daughter by Jan Cherubin, who will also join the discussion. Our book club has been very fortunate that we've been getting a lot of authors to join in on the discussions, so it's fantastic. Our next Tot Shabbat will be Saturday, April 23rd at 10:30 a.m. for singing, dancing, story time, and other age-appropriate activities, live and in person this month. How about that? Then April 29th, we're going to have our first monthly wine and cheese pre-neg. It's not an oneg after the service, so we call it a pre-neg, beginning at 7:15 p.m. and ending just before the services, which start at 8 o'clock. April 29th, that is. So
Also
please
want
come for
to know
that.
that on April 29th is a very special evening honoring a number of remarkable individuals who have said yes to the invitation to becoming Jewish. And so we're going to be hearing from a number of wonderful human beings and about their journeys. So be here that night. It'll be pretty amazing. Not only for the wine and cheese.
And for the wine and cheese. You can also find in the weekly information that you can link to help support the needy people in the Ukraine and the refugees who have left there. So please take a look at that. We also always are looking for people to join Seth Lubin and our tech crew so that we can continue always live streaming our services. You can speak with Seth. He's over there in the corner.
Thank you, Seth.
As close as possible to the control room is where he sits. Our food pantry is open Wednesday nights. We need volunteers. We need donations of food and money. You can get the details, again, from the weekly or the newsletter or the website. And please be careful crossing the street around here. The cars drive way too fast. Rabbi?
Thank you. Yeah, one thing we forgot to put on, just 2 weeks from tonight, Seder night, we will not be having services. It will allow everybody to be home with their families at Seder. So nothing going on here at the temple on April 15th, all at home. If you don't have a place to go for Seder, please be in touch. See if we can't find somebody for you. We're going to close out our service with Adon Olam on page 321. The kids coming up to do this with us?
just, no, not
Okay.
because it said you're leading.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Tzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
V'yet Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Be'acharei Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Hieh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
V'yet Nasa,
V'chefzo
V'chefzo
Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, Ve'ein Sheni, Lehamshilo Lahachbira Adon Olam, Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, Velo Ha'oz Ve'hamisra Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
V'yet Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzur Chevri Be'en Sara Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi, Umanos Li, Menat Kosi Be'yom Mikra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
V'yet Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Beyado Avkid Ruchi, Be'et Ishan Ve'a'ira Adon Olam, Ve'imruchi Geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yitzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
V'yet Nasa, V'chefzo
V'chefzo
Kol,
Kol,
Hazai
Hazai
Melech
Melech
Shemo
Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. I understand that the special honor of making motzi is being given out to
kindergarten and
our
first and second
kindergarten
graders.
and first and second graders and their teachers. And I also understand that they're going to be serving the cake.
They can help serve. Yes.
Yes, so they'll make the blessing on the
And
cake.
for next time, they'll learn that blessing. We just didn't have a chance in the past few weeks. So they know Motzi. Come on up, my kindergarten, first, and second graders. I want to make a special thank you to Miss Joanna, who's been working with the children all year and last year, and made this service so beautiful because they helped. And to our piano accompanist who came in today, Jeff, who did a wonderful job. Can they each take a piece before they start the lesson?
Sure.
Each of you take a piece. And don't eat it yet. And you can help pass it out in a minute.
Just take the first one you touch. That's right. That's how it works. Good. Just pull.
I know.
Excellent.
I get hungry sitting through the service, so I'm sure you must be too.
Nope. You say the blessing first. Here, can you
No
take
one
care of
needs
this? Thank you.
Want a piece of that? Take a piece, Mom. Then lift it up a little bit so everybody can see. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
The
Shamein.
tailbone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Now you can eat
shalom.
it.
Please join us for oneg in the back. After, please help yourself to challah. Maybe
Something.
pass it around.
Play something for a minute. Anything melodic and fun and
What's a sheet cake?
special.
I mean, I know what it is.
Thank
Do you know
you.
what it is? Oh, where? Yeah, from the back.